Welcome to Growing the Game, the podcast where we dive deep into Africans basketball culture and development. Today we are talking about a state of women's basketball in Africa, a topic that doesn't get nearly enough attention. With me is someone who is always my co-host on the show, and as we said, we're going to look at a topic that we overlook most of the time, and also maybe we might talk about the women's basket that just ended in Cote d'Ivoire, and do a preview about the upcoming baskets for the men's, which will be happening in Angola as well. Welcome, Lisa. It's been a minute, and it's good to have you back.
Thank you very much. It's great to be back, man. And yes, always great to be co-hosting with you.
Yeah. So today, that's the topics we're going to look at: the state of women basketball, and we dive deep into the Afro as well, and also a brief talk on the men's Afrobasket that will be coming up in Rwanda, I think from the 12th to the 25th of August. Yeah, so we start with the growth of women's basketball in Africa. Let's look at the big picture here. How do you describe the current state of women's basketball on the continent?
I think it's growing. The game is growing. You can see that FIBA is putting an effort for the women's game to get the recognition it deserves. There is women's tournaments all over, age group tournaments to senior level, club competition for them. So yes, FIBA Africa as a whole is doing most countries on the continent are making sure that, yes, the women's game also, let me just rephrase that countries are making sure, putting in an effort to make sure the women's game grows in their countries.
Yeah, like loudly said. Taking away FIBA's involvement in women's basketball on the continent, do you think local leagues and countries are pushing that agenda as well? Because we always see countries focus on the men's basketball league, and we don't see much of that in the women's basketball league as well.
If you do take a look, countries like Rwanda, Burundi, you see in Mozambique, Egypt. Yes, there is that effort to make sure that women's basketball does grow, making sure that women regularly participate in domestic competition. That's the only way national teams also get stronger with participation. You do see women from this continent getting opportunities in other parts of the world to play the game, to attend college. So it is fair to say that countries are doing their part to make sure that the women's game grows. Yes, it was unfortunate that the Malian under 18 team didn't get the opportunity to participate in the World Cup last month in the Czech Republic. I think that there was sad because those girls lost out on an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah.
And somebody within the Malian Federation probably had a lot of explaining to do why that was the case. But I think overall, women, depending on the intentionality of the federation, do get let me not say a fair shake, but are getting an opportunity.
I'll take that as something that is good for us. From my perspective, I think though countries, as you said, are pushing basketball in the likes of Rwanda, Burundi, we've seen it in Morocco, we've seen it in Egypt, and FIBA also pushing the agenda of women's basketball on the continent. But I think for me, I see that we don't value women's basketball that much like we do value the men's basketball, actually. And it's very sad because we've got talent when it comes to women's basketball, same as the men. But it's just that we don't value it that much. We don't give much needed respect that we have to give to those kind of stuff.
But you also have to say what informs that opinion about women not getting enough, the respect that they deserve. What is the reason for that? Why? I would like the points I've mentioned that yes, they are in FIBA competition domestically. There are those leagues. Is it maybe pay? Is it regular playtime, sponsorship? Maybe if you pointed out to those things, obviously you saw with the Nigerian women's team before
Mm,
they made the journey to Cote d'Ivoire. There was issues of funding for them to participate in the
exactly.
tournament.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you point those kinds of issues, you have to ask yourself why that is the case when it comes to the Nigerian women's team. Maybe they will say, yes, it's the same for men as well, that, they have those similar issues, and maybe basketball as a whole in that country contributed. Nigeria has contributed a lot in terms of players. Why isn't it taken as seriously as it deserves to?
You see, okay, you made a clear point over there. The reason why I say we don't respect the game of women's basketball that much is because one, we hear little about them. You get me? My first point is the media publicity on women's basketball is very minimal, very very minimal. Secondly, funding of teams, it's very awkward because today we hear this, tomorrow we hear that. You see, going into this whole thing, FIBA, we say FIBA is investing into the game as well. Fine, that's fair enough. But let's look at the BAL and let's look at the Women's African Basketball League. Can you compare those two on that level? Here,
No, you can't. No, you cannot. I
exactly.
mean, that's investment from the NBA. So, and investment from FIBA are two different things.
But why can't why can't
NBA is what?
but why can't
Yeah.
same be done to the women's? Because if for the men, FIBA also has an involvement in the BAL. If I'm right, FIBA
Yes,
has an
you are
involvement in
correct.
the men.
FIBA has an
Yeah,
involvement in the BAL from the road to bar. After that, it's taken over by the BAL.
exactly. So why can't we secure sponsorship for the women's version as well? Because look, to be sincere, women's African Basketball League was played. I think that was last year, but
Yes.
I would say 75% of basketball fans never knew about it or never heard about this event going on, unless someone who goes deeper into basketball each and every day would say, "Okay, I knew this kind of tournament was played in Africa." Do you get it?
But I'd like to think it's about what investment you put into making sure that fans come in their numbers to fill up the venue.
Mm.
Like the women's tournament, it's the club that has the responsibility of hosting the event. And when yeah. And that means they have to make sure that they advertise well. They make sure that fans know way before the time that they are going to be hosting this event. So the onus is on the club to make sure that when that tournament starts, that venue is filled to capacity. But also maybe the structure of the tournament, where you find it's situated in one country because of maybe costs. The venue only gets filled when the home club plays. I mean, it's the same situation with the BAL, where you find that, it's hosted in Morocco. Fans come only when Fuz Rabat plays. It's hosted in Rwanda. Fans only come when APR plays in South Africa. Well, it was a different setting. Maybe they must have done a lot of marketing to make sure that fans come in their numbers to fill up that the Sunbet Arena. So I think it varies as well. Like if maybe it was done something like how EuroLeague do it, or maybe let me go to football rather, where how the Champions League works, where you find like when Arsenal play that game, they play it at home. When a team like Dortmund plays, they play it at the home game. So everybody gets a fair chance to make money, get fans get to see their teams play, if you understand what I'm saying. Yeah.
I get your point clearly. My question is it up to the teams to make the league that is being hosted by FIBA or by a basketball organization or governing body? Is it a responsibility of the teams to make it look lucrative? Because if we're saying the teams have to play their part, we know media publicity exactly in Africa. This whole thing is a problem in Africa. Even most of the men teams or most of the leagues in Africa, we hardly even get update or get to hear about it. So I think we have a problem with that. I know basically have a problem with that because it's not fair. Why can't the funding be given to them? Why can't the association organizing that, the body organizing that, why can't they get the funding? What are they doing wrong?
I think that for the National Federation, they have to reach out to private sector to make sure the private sectors in their country to make sure that, they get the kind of funding they need. I mean, government funding alone is not enough. Government has different priorities. Sport is not only, and within sport, you find that, yes, there are how many sporting codes within a country, and what you have to give the amounts of money to those sporting codes. So, but the funding is never going to be enough. You have to reach out to the private sector to make sure that, you are able to meet what your sporting codes needs.
And even moving away from that, we've got NBA Academy Africa or NBA Africa Academy.
Yeah.
Do we have for the ladies as well? Because I mostly see recruitment are done on the boys' side. Do we have a system like that for the ladies? Aside Seed Academy, where they run both ladies and men, do we have that for the NBA Africa Academy?
I think they do have it. I don't want to definitely say yes, but I believe there is something for the women there. Well, you'd like to see it being more prominent, like the boys
Exactly.
program is. Yeah, I think it's a historical thing where, men's sporting codes have always been more prioritized than the women in terms of, yes, funding, publicity. And it's also up to us as people in the media space to also play our part to make sure that women's sports events get equal publicity, or just as much publicity as the men's basketball does.
Because if you take a critical look when it comes to sports in Africa, you could see that the women are dominating more than the men's sectors. Let's take the ended Afro. Nigeria has won it 7 times. Senegal got the women's aspect. Senegal got the Afro 11 times compared to their men counterparts. Even in football, we see the same thing. Nigeria has won the African Cup 10 times, where their men have not done that. Even in Ghana, the level at which Ghanaian football female teams have gotten into, the men hasn't reached that level yet. So why can't we invest into it? Why can't we focus? Also, give the same energy we're giving to the men's field. Why can't we put in that same energy to the ladies, knowing that they are also dominating? This stereotype or whatever we have that women are not supposed to do sports in Africa. Don't you think that is also killing us?
Well, women are doing sports, regardless of what people think or say. Women are participating in sports. You have just mentioned Nigeria is now becoming one of the most successful teams in women's sports, in women's basketball. It's now just about federations doing their part to make sure that, hey, this sponsor, please, can you come on board to support our women's program? Government, please make sure that when this ahead of time, this funding is available for our programs. So I think that's where we should be starting at the grassroots level. Also, what I think we should also be intentional in making sure that, yes, girls' participation is also prioritized. An example is when you here at home, when you start a club, also have to make sure that there is also a women's team to make, and you are not just solely dedicated to the boys.
Yeah, for me, if anybody from any federation or any national federation is hearing this, I think the key thing is we should invest more into women's basketball, because I feel women's basketball is going to uplift the continent when it comes to sports. I'm not going to talk in basketball alone, but I'm generalizing it now. Women's are going to uplift the face of African sports. Because the men, we put trust in the men. The men come back and disappoint us, regardless of the level they've gone to. Yeah, it's the fact.
But I think
regardless of the level
it's a thing. I think it's a thing all over the world where men's sports are more prioritized, more viewed than the women. But I think in the WNBA, I think that's changing a little bit. In the NCAA, you may have seen Caitlin Clark played in one of the most viewed games in NCAA history across the board. So that's beginning to change. I think it's more about, yes, again, people being intentional in making sure that resources are dedicated to lifting the women's game.
Yeah, for me, for Africa to develop this women's sports in Africa, we need a lot. We need a lot of investments, corporate sponsorships, programs to develop to educate people about women basketball. We need those things as well. we need to build the grassroots. The grassroots should also be functioning, not we start something today, then the next day it's done. Kudos to Giants of Africa. They are doing a great job each and every year trying to bring in the equality between men and women. Gender equality in terms of the basketball. Kudos to them. They are doing a great job. So I think we should see more of this. Since BAL could partner um with the NBA to bring a beautiful basketball African league to we the African fans or we the African basketball lovers. I think doing same for the Women's African Basketball League would also be a good thing, whereby they could partner with WNBA to get match or maybe Euro League as well. Partner with them. Since now it's an exchange program, we see Africans playing in the Euro League, we see African players playing in the NBA. It's going to be a nice thing.
Yeah, I think also what maybe could happen if it's doable, FIBA Africa maybe reaching out to potential partners or
Exactly.
potential sponsors to say, hey, can you partner with us for this program? I think if because of the growth of basketball, the ground is fertile for that to happen.
Yeah, for sure. It has to happen and we need to really grow women's sports because for me the state of women's basketball is very bad. Because look, to be sincere, after this we're not going to witness any incredible women's basketball activity again until maybe 2027 or 2028, where Afro to be hosted again.
No, I mean, obviously there are domestic leagues that you can look
Ha,
forward to. There is
domestic leagues.
also the Women's Basketball League, African Women's Basketball League, that's going to happen later around December. So that's credible competition. There's also the World Cup qualifiers happening next year in March, and obviously the four semi-finalists are going to be part of that qualifying competition. So there's going to be a lot of basketball. I
They
guess
will.
what needs to be asked is, will there be investment in it to make sure that, the women's teams are well supported when they when they compete in those competitions?
Yeah, what you're saying is true. There are going to be competitions that I know clearly that there's going to be the WABL or whatever, the Basketball League. There are going to be qualifiers to be played. There are going to be leagues resuming because now most of the leagues have come to an end. But are we going to get that attention that we got from the Afrobasket? Is that attention going to be there? That's
I think it's up to me and you. We run media platforms, don't we? So we have to give them those competitions attention. And hopefully, other platforms are also following suit to make sure that, yes, women's basketball gets the traction it deserves. I think that's the only
going to
way
do.
you can do it.
I'm going to do my part. I'm going to do my part to push it
Yeah,
because I'm more
exactly.
concerned about it.
So
So,
if
but
you don't do
we
your
need we
part,
need
then obviously
we need the help from the organizations and the federations as well because we alone can't do it. We need something lucrative to sell to the viewers or to our audience as well.
I think regardless of the federation, you still have to do it. It doesn't matter if the federation is dysfunctional. If we have platforms that can, amplify women's basketball, then we should, use them to do that. You cover the remotest of league, not, let me not say remote, but leagues that people don't, where you amplify leagues where people don't even know
For
that there's
sure.
basketball. So now there's basketball in the DRC, there's basketball in Burundi, basketball in Zimbabwe, basketball in Egypt. So now people are becoming more interested to say, hey, oh, there's basketball here, there's basketball here. So, what is it like? Let me do my research to see how basketball works in this particular country or this particular part of the world. I mean, it's not just the WNBA that it's getting the eyeballs, but domestic leagues around the continent are getting the eyeballs.
But that's right. As I said earlier, I'm going to do my part. I know you are going to do your part. Other influencers or other content creators are also going to do their part. I think I'm going to use this platform to also tell basketball lovers to also push the agenda of women's basketball in Africa. That's the right thing. We can't be one-sided. We need to promote everything we have on the continent to make it as a whole. Okay, staying on the same topic of women basketball, where we saw the Tigers actually emerging as the winners again, winning the title for the seventh time and securing a five-time sweep, 5 times in a row. That's crazy. I don't think we've ever had something like that in the sports field for.
Yeah, Senegal had done it earlier. Then
Oh,
Nigeria matched them in 2023, and now they've just beaten that record yesterday. So yeah, that was, I think, yes. Now this is the longest winning streak in continental basketball for women.
so give us your take, or what's you like. Yeah, you just want to take your take on the whole tournament. How did you see the whole event go?
I believe it was a great tournament, man. I mean, like you could see the atmosphere when Cote d'Ivoire played, and also in the knockout stages, you could see that even though when Cote d'Ivoire got knocked out, you know, now fans came out in their numbers and they still supported the tournament. So I believe that the trajectory of women's basketball can only go up with every single tournament. I think I was excited about the Malian team wanted, and although it was disappointing to see them being on the losing end, it was a team that excited me a lot because of the amount of investment Mali has done with their grassroots program.
Yeah, for
11
sure.
of those players have played in age group tournaments, and to see them make it all the way to the final is a testament to
Yeah, program.
what Mali has been doing over the years
Hmm.
with their basketball program. Of course, Nigeria winning, I think it was expected. I mean, they've had a lot of continuity with players like Amy Okonkwo, Ezinne Kalu, Promise Amukamara
Yeah,
being part of the setup for the longest time, and also they are what diaspora players have played in America for or were born in America and you know grew up playing their basketball in America. That's what in term there's no way you can beat, or let me not say there's no way you can beat them, but they come from very strong programs in the United States, and that's why Nigeria is getting the results that they are getting right now.
yeah, they are doing it, but for my question is, for how long is Nigeria going to go this far with the diasporas? Because we see each and every year they come in without no local players. Their team is really full of diasporas. For how long do you think this Nigeria team can go on winning this?
As long as there are players to pick from within the diaspora, it will go for as long as players are willing to come and represent the country and make it successful. I don't think anybody, depending on how the federation obviously it has its issues, but as long as there's basketball to be played, players will want to come and represent the country and contribute to its success. So I think maybe some countries maybe will also want to follow the thing.
Yeah, follow
Nigeria's
that process.
example, pick from their diaspora and, to be successful. We saw with South Sudan as well, because of
Yeah.
what's happening in that country domestically over the years. They've had to also pick from the diaspora, and, you
Hmm.
are seeing the results of that right now. So the onus is also on other countries that can't depend on that diaspora to maybe strengthen their domestic games.
Which country surprised you the most, and which country disappointed you the most?
South Sudan surprised me. I didn't expect them to go as far as they did on their debut. But now having seen how, obviously following the example that Nigeria did, they obviously got the results that they did. Uganda, they disappointed me. I think after winning the Zone 5 qualifiers in February, I expected a lot from them. But then when you look at the team and what the stats, you can see that they didn't have the kind of depth that's needed, to go far in this competition. As your Nigerias have depth, Mali have depth, Senegal had
Senegal.
depth, and South Sudan had depth. So, when you have that as well and its quality, then you'll go very far in this tournament.
Yeah, that's really true, and I think I was also surprised with Sudan's performance, because going into this tournament, we sat here some time ago
Yeah,
saying we weren't expecting
yeah,
much from them.
yeah, no, definitely.
I think I think after their first two group stages game, I think I had a different feeling about them because if you could see in the group stage games, though they lost two of their games, I could see they were the better team among most of the teams that participated there because they kept this consistency whereby they made sure they weren't losing by huge numbers. And they were always fighting in the last two quarters of every game. They came back
Yeah.
fighting hard. And kudos to Maria Teresa Gadenk, incredible player from South Sudan, and she really stood up for the country and gave her all. And also Cyril Dillard from Senegal. Also, after the tournament, we heard she said she came back from an ACL tour just after 6 months and had to represent the country, and that's the kind of patriotism we need. How players will go out just to represent the flag. That's the kind of players we need on the continent. But I think I was disappointed with Uganda also because I actually told someone that I wanted to see Uganda in the finals from the way they
Yeah.
started. But
Well, I expected them to at least be where South Sudan was in the semifinals. Yes, given the results that they had in February. And also, I had seen maybe with the Afrobasket under 18 team last year making it all the way to the semifinals in the here in South Africa, and I was like, yeah, maybe Uganda is doing something right with their program, so that's a program to watch out for in the future. And come February, they did what they did in Cairo, Egypt, to make it to Cote d'Ivoire, and for them to have fallen at the quarterfinals, yeah, I think it was a bit disappointing for me. But like you say, man, South, they're not a team that gives up easily. They have learned from their participation in the Zone 5 qualifiers, like what they needed to work on, and the result of that paid off. They they didn't win any games in the group stages, like you said, but they picked themselves up. They got better in the playoffs, and the end result is what it is now. They made it to the semifinals, and they are also part of the teams that will participate in the
qualifiers,
World Cup
World Cup qualifiers.
qualifiers next year. So it's a big thing for them, and you can see, their program is also going to be one to look out for in the future. I think they
Yeah,
will be giving Nigeria a run for their money. No,
yeah. And also, if any FIBA officials is watching this podcast now, please, we need 16 teams in the next edition. We can't cope with the 12 teams because for me, it doesn't really make sense to me. Whereby you play two games, it gives advantage to the teams that qualifies automatically because they have a day to rest. Then the teams that goes to the quarterfinals qualification round have to play and play the following day with the team that had automatic qualification. And I think it's imbalance when it comes to resting as well. They are humans, to be honest. These players are humans. They play with energy because they have to train and come to play as well. It's not like they play the game and go back to sleep. No. I think they should be respected as well.
I would like to say national federations are not concerned about it. This tournament has been a 12 team tournament for how long now? It's never been an issue. So until somebody says, hey, we have an issue because we are not getting the kind of rest that this team is getting, then, everybody is going to the status quo will remain where, there'll be teams that, need to do better in going forward and making sure that they in future tournaments they get the results that they need to make sure that they get to the quarterfinals and don't play in the playoff game and then immediately play in the quarterfinals. So until such a time where a team raises his hand or teams say this is not on, it's not, we need parity as well. We need that 2 days rest or 1 day's rest like the other teams are getting. So can we have additional teams to make sure that yes, the competition is fair for
It'll be
all of
more
us?
interesting.
Then yeah.
Exactly. For me, I'm going to say it. They need it. But if they can't talk, I'm talking on their behalf. Sincerely, they need it. We need four extra teams to join the 12 to make it 16. Please. I play the game myself and I know how tedious it is to play basketball for 40 minutes on that court. And You play and wake up and play another game. Nah,
Yeah,
it's
and
crazy.
also I think also teams need to increase what the quality of the quality of their depth. You can't have your top players playing almost what 38 minutes of or 38 minutes of basketball. They are gonna tire eventually, and you saw with Uganda, like players like Jane Asinde and who's
Mm,
this Paige Robinson playing
yeah.
very heavy units, and it's not sustainable. So it's maybe for countries like Uganda and other teams that rely solely on their stars for results to like how do we increase the quality of their depth. Let's what identify that talented players to make sure that what they can give close to what the star player is giving.
On that same thing you just said, that we have to develop the quality of the depth. I think it will still take me back to our previous discussion, whereby we need to build a proper structure in our countries. The federation needs to build proper structure to train players. So this still leads us to the development of women basketball. You see, so we need to do
Yeah,
more.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's about also prioritizing where does the federation's priorities lie as well. Is the federation going to prioritize one gender over the other, or are they going to make sure that there's equality in terms of what how resources are used to make sure that players develop, how programs are created to make sure that yes, players are also getting an equal chance and exposure. So once that is being done, then obviously, yes, there will be interest from players to want to play basketball. I mean, here, a case in example, here at home, yes, there are programs, but, South Africa for the longest time has missed out on women's competition because, yes, basketball seems like it's not a priority code.
Mm.
And the federation as well hasn't been intentional in making sure that women do get what equal opportunity to participate.
Yeah. Once again, please, federations, let's wake up and promote the sport of basketball more. It's really needed. The game balance on the continent. We can't just be watching men's basketball the whole time. We need women's basketball. So moving away from women's basketball, let's look at the upcoming Afro baskets for the men's, which will be happening in the Angola.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
From the
yes,
12th.
Angola, correct. Yeah.
Teams have already started preparing in the likes of Senegal, who have played already 3 friendlies. They played against France, Poland, and Italy yesterday. I think they've lost two. They only won against Poland. They lost against France and they lost against Italy yesterday. Yeah, and the likes of Cape Verde, who are in Spain, also preparing for the tournament. We've got Rwanda also preparing. We've got Egypt. Egypt was playing in the Arab Cup where Algeria won. Angola's team is already in Spain. They've been in Spain for some weeks now, also training and preparing for the tournament. Congo is also in Angola now, having their preparations going on. Currently, Kuminga just landed in Suriname, Cote d'Ivoire, in Congo,
In
and will be joining the team. Devonte Jonathan Jordan, after winning the
yeah.
Moroccan league, he joined the team today. So I think it's going to be a good AfroBasket. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be an exciting tournament. I mean, obviously, with you've just mentioned the DRC, they did well in the qualifiers, beating South Sudan on the way to qualifying for Angola. And they are one of the teams to look out for, especially with the talents and getting a player like Kuminga is a big plus for them. And given the amount of talent that they've given to the world, I think it's one of those teams that, really need to ask what they need to do to make sure that they finally win this tournament. So given the results of the qualifiers, I'm expecting a lot from them. Like you've mentioned, Jonathan Jordan is a naturalized player for them. So that's it gives depth at the point guard position as well with Maxi Shamba running point. So they will both those players, in that position is a big plus for Congo. Angola, maybe fans there, to them, this is like a homecoming tournament. They're Africa's most
Yeah,
successful team with 11 titles.
titles
So
here.
we'll be eager to see what they can do. Having players like Bruno Fernando, Silvio de Souza, big men, who play top level basketball in Europe. Good local players like Childe Dunda, who else? Jason Lucene, who
Yeah,
was had a
Moreira,
stint in France. I think he's back uh, in Angola now. Abubakar Gaku as well, who was
Jaku,
with
yeah.
part of Petro Luanda, played in the
Rwanda
BAL
Success,
final.
yeah.
I think there's a lot of quality there. Whether they can deliver a 12th title, that's still up in the air. South Sudan, that's probably a team to look out for. They've been a talk
Yeah,
of
for
the
sure.
town for a while now, having played well in the World Cup 2 years ago and participated in
Olympics.
the Paris Olympics last year. So that team is one to look out for, and they'll be led by Federation President Luol Deng. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that should also inspire them to want to win on debut. I'm sure they've watched
Mm,
their women and what they've done, and they will want to match that or even go higher. Then
done that, yeah.
yes, so who else? The Tunisians. Well, Radwan Slimani did say a couple of months ago that he's not sure whether they'll be able to defend it. Some of the players have gotten on in the years. They're not expecting much from themselves, but I'm sure they will be a team to compete. Egypt, it's one of those teams, they have produced a lot of great club teams over the years, but they've never been
National
able to
teams.
get it together at the Afrobasket. I think they won it 40 years ago. So you can see that they have struggled over the years to like put a team together that can,
Yeah.
challenge for the title. Maybe we'll see this year. Obviously, you can never doubt their quality, but the question is, can they, come together and get the job done at Afrobasket level? Nigeria, not so sure about them. And
Those
although
guys,
they've also given a lot of, yeah,
it's almost 8 days to the tournament, I think, and they are just landing in now to the country. They always don't prepare ahead of time. Yeah, those people are not
yeah.
serious.
So, we haven't I think the chopping and changing of players and not having a consistent team playing together for them has been their downfall over the years, and poor preparation as well is also because of the level of competition in the men's side is what it is. They'll always
Yeah.
struggle. Cameroon is also one team to look out for. Yves Missy of the New Orleans Pelicans recently announced that he'll be part of the
Yeah, he's
team.
joining. Yeah.
So Alfred Aboya will probably be excited about that. And the players that he has within his team already, they also they finished second behind Senegal in the qualifiers, but they've been to the finals before in 2007 in Angola. So maybe they'll be inspired by the feats of the team of that year to want to go further than what they have in recent years.
Libya also after Coach Chakra left his job with. Do you think Sam Vincent is going to lead them to glory?
I've said this before, you can't cut and paste things. If they win, it will be a miracle. But maybe if you went with the coach that led you to qualification, you can do something special. But yeah, uh, maybe St. Vincent, he's won it to before with the African. He's won it before with Nigeria, the Nigerian women's team. He's a very experienced coach in the continent. He's coached at the Olympics as well. So, and he was part of APR's setup after at the ball. So he's well versed. He'll know what he has a lot of work to do to make sure that Libya is motivated and the chemistry remains what it is from the qualifiers. But I don't know if they'll be as impactful as they would have been with with
With
Vincent than
Chakra.
they would have with Abu Chakra.
Yeah, let's see. South Sudan surprised us in the women's edition, so maybe we could expect any surprises as well. The underdog.
I don't know. I don't know so much about
I,
Libya.
basketball is a game. Basketball is a game of uncertainties. Uncertainties. So
Yeah.
anything can happen at any time. You don't know. You sleep on a team,
No, I
it can
think
take you by surprise. Who knew?
Nah, I
Who
don't
knew?
think there'll be
Who
any.
knew? Who knew Congo was going to win South Sudan in the qualifiers? Just picture that. It happens. Let's not. Maybe San Vincent is the key to unlock that mystery. So
Nah, we'll see with
yeah,
them. Yeah, the last time they participated in the Afrobasket was when they hosted it. I don't know how far they went that time. And this is the first time since 2009 that they are coming back to the thing, to the
maybe
Afrobasket. Obviously, they'll have some of those players that played in the BAL final, and
yeah, for sure,
like
for sure.
your Nassim Badrouches, Wajdi Dawo, who played in the 2009 2009 Afrobasket, and the point guard now his name has escaped me.
Yeah, yeah. I think I've also forgotten about his name now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But anyways,
So, but yeah, with that kind of experience, and obviously players from what's this Al Ahly Benghazi coming who won the
mhm,
championship,
yeah,
so they'll have a decent team, but whether it will shake the ground in Angola, I don't know.
yeah.
Or let me say,
With
yeah,
the
it's a no for me.
do you think with the current happenings in Angola now, FIBA should still host the AfroBasket there because we recently saw that there are some disturbances and some incidents happening in Angola. Do you think that AfroBasket should still stay there?
Well, as things stand, the tournament is going ahead. I don't know if it's obviously the loss of human life is tragic, but yeah, it looks like the tournament will go on. It seems like the situation has stabilized. It hasn't gotten to a place where, it's become untenable. So as things stand, the tournament will go ahead. If the domestic situation does get out of hand, it's something FIBA Africa will have to reevaluate.
All right, that's good, but we hope we get an exciting Afro from the men. Actually, there's a tradition we do. The tournament is about 8 days from now. What is your
Yeah.
prediction?
Wow. 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 Wow.
Which month's
I'm putting my
direct?
money on the
Okay,
DRC. Yeah.
okay, I get
I
that.
think I liked how they played the qualifiers. My dark horse, maybe Mali. I don't. Yeah, I have a soft spot for them. Yeah, and
Okay,
the other two teams, Senegal and possibly, I think Cameroon.
okay. So for me, I want to see a South Sudan and DRC final. I
Yeah,
want to see that matchup again. So I would like to see those two. Yeah. So maybe at this point, when they meet again, we can truly tell if that win the DRC got for South Sudan was legit or not.
yeah,
Because it still feels like a dream. So I just want to see that
yeah.
matchup. Yeah, but let's not sleep on Angola as well. I think Angola might
Yeah,
also pull some
Angola, of course,
surprises.
they have history on the side, but they've
Hmm.
hit a bit of a dry spell. I think the last time they won the Afro Basket was it 2015, 2013, around that time. And since then,
Mm,
that generation of Carlos Moraes, Kikas Gomez, Eduardo Mingas, Olympio Cipriano
mm,
have gone on, have moved. Obviously, since, some of them have retired. Carlos Moraes is what kind of in what playing club basketball in Angola. But yeah, it's not the same. It's not the Angola that we used
we
to
used to know
remember.
before.
So maybe this generation can surprise many by going all the way.
Mm.
They'll be obviously inspired by being playing at home and being backed by history. They have the potential to win it, but obviously potential alone is not enough. You have to get the job done on the court. So, but yeah, for me, the teams that I've mentioned, DRC, Senegal, Cameroon, and which else? Mali. Yeah, those are probably
But
my teams.
why are you ruling out the giants of Africa? You are ruling out the
Who are
giants
they?
of
Who?
serious.
And they only have one title, man. Much as they've probably given the most basketball players from the continent to the rest of the world. They've never really, they've never really, inspired, let me say. They've never really been an inspirational team for me to
Yeah,
say,
for
yeah,
sure.
look out for
For sure.
Nigeria, they'll do something. I
The
think
men's
it's
team,
always that constant chopping and changing, not having
yeah,
a consistent core of players that you can say, yeah, this is
it's just
a
an
team
off
to
and
look
on
out for.
switch. Yeah.
And one thing they've done is probably outsource that development where they also pick from their diaspora. But the men's competition, you can see, is a very different beast altogether.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, we'll look forward to seeing what will happen from the 12th of August, and every details about the Afrobasket will be linked on our social media pages on the big tip off and the growing the game social media pages. So you could check out follow us over there and you'll get every details you need to know about this upcoming Afrobasket as well. Yeah, thank you, Sarah, for your time, and I really appreciate doing this with you again.
Thank you very much for the invite, Kwaku. Always great co-hosting with you. And yes, let's keep growing the game.
Exactly. So this is where we bring this discussion to a close. Our viewers, how can we support women's basketball in Africa? Drop your thoughts on the comment section below. Thank you for an amazing evening. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and keep growing the game. So we meet another time.
Cheers.
Yeah.